this money is relatively instant and virtually free. Superior global payments. And so I'm going to tell a story. This is a true story, by the way. It was about a month ago. I was invited to the home of an executive at one of the largest asset managers in the world. They manage trillions of dollars worth of assets. And word on the street is there was some 27-year-old running around the Bay Area claiming that he was going to disrupt cross-border payments with Bitcoin, and I was tasked to explain it to him. And so I get to his home, and I was having a tough time really, talking about the Lightning Network and peer-to-peer and decentralization. And he had tortilla chips and trail mix on the table. I looked him in the eye, said, you got to bear with me for a second. This may be weird, but I'm just going to visualize this for you. And I poured the tortilla chips and the trail mix out. This is a true story. True story. And I put a tortilla chip on the left, and I said, here's a user in El Salvador, okay? And this is a user that wants to send a cross-border payment. And I put a tortilla chip on the far right of his dining room table. I said, here's a tortilla chip in El Salvador that wants to receive a payment, okay? And I put a bunch of tortilla chips all in the middle, okay? And then I put a raisin on the U.S. tortilla chip. I said, that's representative of $1. And so the U.S. tortilla chip wants to send this raisin to the El Salvador tortilla chip. But you got all these tortilla chips in the middle. These are the required intermediaries to facilitate this money moving all the way from one closed-loop regional system in the United States to El Salvador, okay? And all these intermediaries in the middle, they have all these raisins on them, all these sunken costs. They got to pay all the rent for all the brick and mortar locations all over the world. They got to pay the SWIFT fees, the banking fees. They have to custody their own raisins so that in the event that you wanted to get a raisin in El Salvador, they had to front the credit to the next correspondent bank, and there's settlement delays, and there's cost of managing all their raisins, right? And it's a real big mess to get all I want. I'm just a U.S. tortilla chip. I mean no harm. I just wanted to get my raisin to the other side of the world, right? And so that's what it is today, okay? That's SWIFT plus correspondent banking plus Western Union and TransferWise and all these, right? And so then what I did is I took, same thing, I said, okay, we'll leave that up there. I took a new U.S. tortilla chip down below and an El Salvadorian tortilla chip to the right. And I said, you know what's miraculous is that if I take a peanut from the trail mix, I can swing this peanut between the U.S. and El Salvador instantly and at no cost. The peanut is irreversible. It is cash final. It lives free of intermediaries. It is open. It is global. And the peanut is valued everywhere in the world. Okay. The problem, though, is that everyone said that they're allergic to peanuts. That was my joke to the asset manager. Is that no one cared that I could swing peanuts between these tortilla chips because everyone was allergic to peanuts. And so then what I did for the gentleman is I put a raisin on each, the U.S. tortilla chip and the El Salvador one. And I said, listen, don't think of the peanut as something you have to touch. If you're allergic to it, you're allergic to it. We can still allow the tortilla chips to interface with the raisins, and we just use the peanut to get rid of all the muck in the middle up above. The peanut does the job of SWIFT plus correspondent banking plus Western Union plus TransferWise. You don't got to touch the peanut. You don't got to deal with Bitcoin's volatility or the tax consequences or the accounting headache or how technical it is, and you don't got to be a cryptographer. We can use the peanut to escrow raisins between all the tortilla chips without having to deal with all the muck. Right? So I cross Bitcoin up top up there. Peanuts offer superior payments. The peanut standard, it's open, it's a network, it's global, works everywhere, it's inclusive to everyone. All you need is a phone and internet. You can send and receive, it's cash final, it's instant, it's virtually free. Right? And it's not about being long peanuts. If you're allergic to peanuts, you're allergic to peanuts. It's okay. You can touch raisins. we can just use the peanuts to get rid of all the muck, all the legacy tortilla chips with all the raisins piled on top of them. Okay, and that is the thesis of Strike. What Strike does, and the reason I created it, is it connects your cash collateral to Bitcoin. Okay, you can make Bitcoin payments with your dollars. You can move raisins between tortilla chips over the peanut network. Right? What if I could initiate $100 to go to Europe, and the dollars get debited, turned into Bitcoin, zipped across the world, and then converted back into euros? What a world that would be, right? You're not exposed to the volatility of Bitcoin. You don't need to know how it works. You don't need to be bullish or bearish. We're using a superior monetary network, a naturally global, natively digital, open monetary network. And so here's a demo of me doing exactly that. This is me sending an international money transfer over Twitter from the US to El Salvador. Oop. Sorry. Yo, we're here in Chicago. And we've got David here in a Starbucks in El Salvador. David has his Strike account linked to his Twitter account, and we're going to make a free, instant cash final remittance payment over Twitter. So I'm going to go search David's Twitter account on my phone. I'm going to find his tips button, and I'm going to send David $10 over Twitter for changing the world. It's going to open my non-custodial Lightning Moon wallet. Anyone in the world can download, and I'm just going to hit send. And boom. We just made an instant free remittance payment from Chicago, Illinois, USA to San Salvador, El Salvador over Twitter. So that's pretty remarkable. That is something that SWIFT, correspondent banking, Western Union, TransferWise cannot do. And it's $10, by the way, which is the small size of international money transfer that the G20 and the UN wants. Didn't cost anything. So here's the view from my phone very quickly. This is over Twitter, by the way, right? So the thesis of the peanut network is every tortilla chip that hops on and speaks peanuts, we can all connect and transact with each other. It's the ultimate interoperable monetary network for the world that we've always desired. And so all I did was search on Twitter, checked out with whatever financial service I wanted. In this case, is a wallet called Moon, and it was that easy. Now this is, if I'm blowing your mind now, wait for this. Now this is David, the real David. David received his remitting payment over Twitter and immediately in San Salvador, El Salvador, checked out over the peanut standard at Starbucks. So let me just spell this out in plain English. $10 US were sitting here in Chicago, and they became a good or service at a local business in a different country in less than 60 seconds. That is remarkable. Okay, I'm not talking about making cross-border payments cheaper or faster. I'm talking about changing everything. Okay? If we take a closer look at that, this is what happened. We had a US tortilla chip initiate a raisin to El Salvador, and that raisin turned into a peanut with a crown and a smile, got to El Salvador and flipped itself back into raisins. And then the El Salvador tortilla chip was able to buy a good or service with it. And if we look at David, this tortilla chip was previously unbanked. This tortilla chip was previously abused by fees of intermediaries and financial services and institutions. This tortilla chip previously had to wait long delays to actually collect their money and participate in the financial services that they were privy to. And they lived in an analog world. They were cash-based, not safe. Okay? We fixed all of that. And so this could have been Strike to Chivo wallet to IBEX at Starbucks. This could have been Strike to Twitter to IBEX. This could have been Cash App to Strike to IBEX. Right? What am I pointing out here? This could have been Cash App to Revolut to Strike. What I'm saying is it's an open standard. The network effects and economies of scale, you can't compete. The G20 and the UN don't have to go mandate and tell a select few companies that have been around for decades to do better. We can enable an open standard and free market competition, which is what we want. Right? In the world of Bitcoin payments, there's no fixed costs. Everyone in the world can use it. It's digital and it's free of any intermediaries. Okay? So if we revisit our major challenges, they're all addressed. Bitcoin on this monetary network, payments are cash final relatively instantly. It's an open system. It's transparent and dependable. It's as close to free as any monetary network has ever been. It's interoperable to anyone who implements the standard. You don't need to submit an application. You don't need to do anything. You just have to implement the open standard that lives on the internet. Its coverage grows with the network effects and economies of scale that come with an open network, and it's accessible to anyone with phone and an internet connection. And so what I did with the gentleman is I took these guys in the middle. The asset manager, I was, at his home, so I wasn't being rude, but I was like, get these guys off the table. We don't need them anymore. Peanuts can do their job, right? The future of cross-border payments is this. You just want to pinch this peanut's cheek, so cute, but you can't because you're allergic. You don't want to touch him. But on a more serious note, only half serious, is that free market tortilla chip competition is what this enables. And that if we don't need to rely on the legacy tortilla chips in the middle with all the fixed costs and the legacy delays and the slow speed and the high fees, then with the peanut standard, the tortilla chip can elect the winners of the free market based on their preferred experience. The free market competition ends up optimizing for the quality of the experience of the tortilla chip, which is what we want, which is what the G20 wants, which is what the UN wants ultimately. And so really my pitch here today is to relay the message that Bitcoin is simply a tool, right? Just like the hammer and the nail is a tool. You could build a home or you can act maliciously against someone, right? Bitcoin is not here to spell the death of anything. Bitcoin is just a tool. And as human beings, we're all the same species and we're all set out to make this world a better place. And if we truly want to improve the experience of cross-border payments, suppress pricing, enhance the experience, expand connectivity, interoperability, transparency, dependability, and make it inclusive for everyone, I urge you to take a closer look at this tool. It is a remarkable tool, dare I say, the best financial tool humanity has ever come across monetarily.